This episode is brought to you by the new true crime docuseries American Nightmare, only on Netflix. In 2015, the Vallejo, California Police Department received a strange phone call about a kidnapping. But when the truth is stranger than fiction, you won't know who to trust or what is real. A fast-paced true crime thriller with cliffhangers at every turn. Watch American Nightmare, January 17th, only on Netflix.
Start your wellness journey at Whole Foods Market, where it's Jumpstart January through the 16th. Stock up on supplements with some of the year's biggest savings. Plus, save on air-chilled organic boneless skinless chicken breasts, organic Honeycrisp apples, organic large Hass avocados, and more. And since Whole Foods Market is the only certified organic national grocer, it's easy to make them your wellness destination. Jumpstart your January now at Whole Foods Market.
Hey, y'all, guess what time it is? It's the Grolic Saves the World time.
All right, the Grolic saves the world.
That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
We're getting big, our worries are mixed. Let's have some cake while the Grolic saves the world. We're getting big, our worries are mixed. Let's have some cake while the Grolic saves the world. We're getting big, our worries are mixed. Let's have some cake while the Grolic saves the world.
A mere 5 months after its release date, I have finally seen The Batman. You're now free to talk about it openly around me. Welcome to The Grolic Saves the World. My name's Adam Caton Holland.
My name is Ben Roy. I'm Andrew Armendal. And this is The Grolic Saves the World, the podcast where we try to better the world around us by bettering ourselves through self-help challenges. And Adam, I am so glad because we have wanted to talk about The Batman.
Everyone has.
Yeah, and You've been avoiding your phone. You've been avoiding us.
Zip. It comes up. I go, zip, 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 zip. I'm getting to it.
Adam, did you watch it on an airplane?
I watched it how I feel like the filmmakers would want you to watch it. I watched 2 hours of it on an airplane, and then I watched the remaining hour 4 weeks later when I had a night. And I feel like I really captured the experience, the essence, and yeah, anyone who wants to talk about it, not in the podcast world, in the real world where you talk about movies, now feel free. Feel free.
Okay. Well, what are we doing today besides
talking about the Batman?
Going back through Adam's pop culture canon.
I have a challenge.
Okay.
So this podcast, we say that we're out to change the world for the better, hopefully. That's what we want with this podcast. That's what we try to do every episode. And I think we give it the old college try. It strikes me we've never looked at the other people out there that are trying to do it as well. And so for this challenge, I want to take a look at religion.
Oh, for
Jesus.
Religions, I think they claim to do what we do, which is teach people to better themselves in the hope that they better the world around them through their religion. Now, do I agree that religion does this? Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I think it's, opiate of the masses type of thing.
This is something that we have all kind of disagreed on at some point. I don't hate religion. I think it seems to be a necessary part of the human psyche to formulate dogmas around finding meaning and community.
Right.
I do think on this podcast, we shit on religion a lot, but they aren't all bad.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like, look at what Christianity has done to the United States of America right now. I saw a meme, which is the only way I get information. And it said, when somebody tells you they're a Christian, you should ask them, real Jesus or Republican Jesus? I thought that was so fucking funny. And that's exactly where I think Christianity has taken the United States of America. But Andrew, let's talk about your religious experience growing up. You were a snake handler or something? What was it?
Yeah,
Andrew,
junior snake handler badge.
Perhaps the most strict
surprisingly, that's
religious.
pretty much the only aspect of charismatic Christianity that I did not get to enjoy. It was the handling of snakes in a tent on the Kansas prairie. I know, bummer, because at least it would have been a cool story. But I was raised like super turbo religious, evangelical, Pentecostal, raising of hands, speaking in tongues, being slain in the spirit.
Turbo religious was the official religion of the American gladiators, right?
Turbo.
Yeah, turbo religion.
Yeah.
Well, it was when they thought Turbo died, and then Turbo came back to life on that episode.
He just took a tennis ball to the neck, and he was out for a minute. turbo religion. No, but you always tell stories about how you were restricted from what you could watch for television.
Yeah.
And listen to for music.
That didn't feel that extreme because that was just general Christian, but definitely like very hardcore religious upbringing, being raised to believe that we were like heading into the end times where the Antichrist would be like seizing power. They were going to go door to door, rounding up Christians. They were converting railway cars into like mass guillotines for Christians. These are like things that I was being taught like in like second grade.
Oh, so the truth. So all they were doing was telling you the truth. And I see it worked, Andrew. I want to comment. I see that all this religious indoctrination worked because you are currently wearing a shirt that says church fire on it. And the bottom half of the H is an upside down cross. So I think it's really stuck with you.
It's like, really
so
worked.
If you want your kids to be religious, beat it into them. They'll just accept it.
And then luckily I got older and realized that all that is absolute bullshit, and I tossed it aside, and I've been an atheist ever since, and a much better person as an atheist than I ever was as a Christian.
Okay, so you're an atheist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, I myself, I grew up very Catholic. I grew up in the Northeast in the Irish French Catholic church that is,
or as we would call them, Mary worshippers. Yeah, go on, Ben.
I love that you all call them.
Not even considered Christianity in my church. Go ahead.
Attaboy.
Oh, that's cool because we crushed your church in several different crusades.
Church fight!
But yeah, I grew
now
up.
We're getting to what religion is all about.
Catholicism in my community was just a reason to judge what people wore and, you know, things you didn't like. You could say that God didn't like that. But for the most part, like my mom still let me have Iron Maiden posters on my wall with like Eddie Maiden. I had the poster where he has like a bullet going through his head and someone's eating soup out of his brain. And I had a Bud Light poster on my wall. Like my parents were very much like, they went to church, but my mom was very involved in the Catholic Church, but it's tradition and community. I went through all of the sacraments, but it was all done for my mom. Like, do it because your grandmother would want you to do this. So it's very much a familial tradition. Now I would consider myself agnostic. I would say I don't know, but I know it is not that. I definitely know it's not that. What about you, Adam? I know you've talked.
Yeah.
Your dad was Jewish, right?
Yeah, my dad is raised Jewish, but I mean, he kind of walked away from that. He didn't really love it. It was very exclusive, and it was very like he just didn't enjoy synagogue and Judaism very much. It was very insular. And so he kind of just left that behind. And my mom was, I don't even know what my mom was raised, some type of Christianity in the South. But they were both big hippies and they were kind of like, fuck that. But they're both very spiritual people. And I think they kind of infused some spirituality in us. They never made us go to any church, but I think they never said there's no God. So I think all of my siblings would say agnostic. And my wife is Catholic, so I don't think that would work if I didn't have a certain bit of spirituality in me. However, I find organized religion anathema, and I feel like it's done more harm than good. And I am in such a bleak place right now, both just for various reasons in my life, but also with the way society is going, that I thought this challenge. So here is the challenge. We go out and we attend a religious service, and it's something we don't go to shit on it. We don't go to shit on it. We go there with like, okay, maybe this type of religion interests me a little bit. Why don't I go see if there's any words of wisdom, anything I can take away? And I'm not saying we become this religion, but let's just like see how the other half lives for a second.
Doesn't have to be Christianity. I can go to whatever kind of religious.
It could be anything.
Okay, cool. I like that. You know, like during Pride Parade, during the Black Lives Matter protests, during the protests for women's rights and women's reproductive rights, there were a number of churches there. Episcopalians have always been on the side of equal rights and human rights, as well as, God, Unitarian Universalists are You can't really have much of a problem with them. They like, even if you're an atheist and you're like, burn God to the ground, they're like, I love hearing your side and I love talking about it. They're like, they don't care. So
They're the NPR of religion.
I think if we do this, we have to try really hard to come back to the second half with something positive we took from that experience.
Exactly what I'm saying. And I think, like, as comedians and as just the three of us, our natural thing is to hear about religion and be like, man, fuck that. And I think
Andrew's making
that's
the jerking symbol, the hand jerking, the tucking the truck
That
horn.
reputation is earned, and certainly Andrew and Ben, you've done it more than I have, where you kind of had to escape one.
Jerked it? Probably.
Yeah, I've jerked it for sure more than you have, Adam. You're
No way.
so conservative with your jerk. You're
No way.
jerk-servative, dude. You know it. Yes,
When
you do.
Because there was a while I was getting booked more than you, which means hotels. And that's like, I can't be in a hotel and not jerk off.
Yeah.
He does raise an interesting point, Ben.
Oh, I love how we've switched. And I have a lot of real anger at the church.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of trying, and I have one in mind.
Yeah.
That I want to go.
Already?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, growing up in the punk and hardcore scene, the number of punks and hardcore kids that when they decided to be religious went to Krishna consciousness and went to being Hare Krishnas is insane.
They were a great band. Shelter, 108.
Yeah, dude.
It's the George Harrison model.
And I live like 10 blocks from the Denver Center for International Krishna Consciousness. And
Great, because I was thinking when you're going to spiritual wander, think about proximity with worship.
You have to. I don't want to wander far.
No,
I don't want to wander far.
to the closest place to your house.
I wander
It'll be the right
close.
one for you.
I mean, that's how they did it 1,000 years ago, and it makes sense that that's how you'd be doing it now.
Where can I walk to in sandals?
Where am I going to go? This is a challenge I don't like, and
I mean, that may be a good thing.
yeah, it's the
I am far from being a Bible beater. I'm far from being like, guys, go get religious. But I do think it's worth taking a tour.
This is a challenge I don't like.
But you know what? I might go check out. Only because I've heard they're cool. I might seek out a Quaker service. I've heard
That's a good one.
Interesting.
You've heard they're
things.
cool. They're the reason that slavery was abolished.
And I've heard that's cool, Ben. Come on.
That's fucking cool.
That is a cool thing. I didn't even know they were around. Andrew, if you go, get me a hat and some oats.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Adam,
Yes.
what are you thinking? Off the
I
top
don't
of your
know. I'm
head.
gonna see.
Top of your head.
Off the top of my head, I'm thinking I might go to a synagogue. It's been a long, long time since friends' bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. Probably the last time I went to one.
Oh, no shit.
So I might.
When was
go,
the last time you went to a synagogue?
I'm telling you, when I was 13, when people were getting bar mitzvahs.
That was
and bat
literally the last time,
Yeah.
your first. Oh, damn!
Absolutely.
Well, this will be interesting. So here's the challenge. I guess we're all going to take
Take in a service.
Take in a service, a religious service of our choosing, and then we got to try to come and bring something positive we took from it.
And also, in a way, in their own perhaps misguided way, they're trying to save the world as well.
Right.
And so why don't you see any little pearls that you're like, you know what? I can put this into my individual experience, and it's kind of what we're doing on the pod. See if we're just a religious podcast after all.
All right. All
I
right.
would explain
let's
these
do it.
robed figures who've been following us around. Great. Why don't we do this? Let's take a break and listen to some stand-up from our live comedy show, The Grolics, which happens the last Saturday of every month at the Bug Theater. This last one was a damn hoot, and this month, I dare say it could be even better.
Hootier.
We're bringing in Sarah Schaefer from Los Angeles. It'll be even hootier. So in the meantime, here is a clip from our live show. This is Aaron Urist. Very funny guy. And when we come back, more show to come. We'll probably be converted. This will probably be a significantly different podcast. So stay tuned.
I can't wait.
Namaste, motherfuckers.
I am a Jew. I don't wear the whole costume. I don't wear the uniform. I'm a plainclothes Jew, if you will. Last year, around Christmas time, somebody found out I was a Jew. I don't know how. Somebody was snitching. But They found out, and they came up to me, and they had a lot of questions, but zero baseline Jew knowledge. And they came up to me, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're Jewish. What kind of God do y'all worship?" Which is a fun question. And I just had to be like, "Oh, you know, like the main one, the main OG one. Yeah, original God, that's us." But we know him from before you met him, from before he had a kid and got all lame. Yeah. Should have seen him back in the day, Old Testament God, before he quit drinking. Oh man, that was a different religion altogether. Just getting fucking white God wasted up there. Like, build me a temple, do it. You, cut your dick off, just the front part, you don't need it. Do it now. Everyone, do it to prove you love me. What's that, bacon and eggs? I will fucking murder you. Yeah, you, kill your son right now. Just kidding. Gotcha. Jewish God strikes again. Set this bush on fire. Talk to it now. It says you suck.
This episode is brought to you by the new true crime docuseries American Nightmare, only on Netflix. In 2015, the Vallejo, California Police Department received a strange phone call about a kidnapping. But when the truth is stranger than fiction, you won't know who to trust or what is real. A fast-paced true crime thriller with cliffhangers at every turn. Watch American Nightmare, January 17th, only on Netflix.
Start your wellness journey at Whole Foods Market, where it's Jumpstart January through the 16th. Stock up on supplements with some of the year's biggest savings. Plus, save on air-chilled organic boneless skinless chicken breasts, organic Honeycrisp apples, organic large Hass avocados, and more. And since Whole Foods Market is the only certified organic national grocer, it's easy to make them your wellness destination. Jumpstart your January now at Whole Foods Market.
And Colin Farrell, I didn't even know it was Colin Farrell as the Penguin until like
you don't have to whisper. Everyone has seen it, dude. Just regular voice.
We're start.
Yeah.
We are back. We are back through the magic of podcasting. Time has elapsed.
That sound. I love that.
Time has elapsed.
Hallelujah and Hosanna in the highest.
Did everybody do the challenge?
Yes, I did.
Ben?
Yes, I did. I did do my challenge.
Yes, I did. Once again, said we'd do a thing, did the thing. This is the Grolic Saves the World guarantee.
Thank you for listening. What an episode we did today. We did do our challenge. And thanks for being here.
Done.
Ooh, it feels
what
good
a
to
challenge.
swish it.
What a challenge.
You know what? We should remind the listener. For those of you that are just second halfers, as we call it. We came back.
we have second halfers? Man, that's weird.
We have second halfers.
That's
it's like
weird.
It's 3/4 of our audience. We decided we'd each attend a religious service and take off our cynical hat, find a few pearls of wisdom we could bring from those services to try to make the world a better place. Aren't they doing what we're doing? Let's go see. That was the challenge this episode. So, Andrew, where did you go? How was it?
Well, I took off my cynical hat and doffed a classic Quaker hat and curly white wig to go to a Quaker meeting. Turns out they don't wear those, so I felt a little insensitive.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah, kind of racist.
I blew a lot of money at the Wizard's Chest on it, but no.
And they found it oddly insulting, didn't they? There you go.
I went to a remote meeting. First of all, they don't call themselves Quakers. This was huge news for me. They call themselves Friends, and they call each other Friends.
Friends.
Right off the bat, that's pretty cool. Why not? It's such a nice way to refer to each other.
Quakers was
hugely popular.
A quasi-derogative term, sort of. It was sort of making fun of them that they quaked in the sight of God, right? That's why they were called Quakers. They shook.
I'm not sure. I didn't ask, to be honest.
Yeah, no,
but
that's why they were called that. Yeah,
they call themselves Friends, and they have meetings. So I attended a Quaker meeting remotely, just a cool cyberpunk Quaker meeting via Zoom. And
Andrew, big shout out to you for taking it all the way to your laptop on your spiritual journey. I do want to really,
Ben really
that.
inspired me with the idea of just walking to the closest place. I thought, what's closer than my computer? Not much. It turns out. No, I went because these Quaker meetings, they limit. I'm already fucking it up. These Friends meetings, they're
called the Society of Friends. That's what Quakers are called. Yeah,
they limit the number of people who can come in it. The limit is small. One meeting was 25 people. One meeting was 35 people, and I wanted to make sure to do this challenge in time. So instead of rolling the dice on an in-person meeting, I went remote because there is no limit on like remote attendees. So
cool.
It was very interesting. If you don't know how a meeting of Friends goes down, their worship consists of sitting in silence together
on a Zoom.
Silence wherever you are. There were they also had a camera in the meeting hall, so you could see that group as well.
Okay.
But yes, I was on Zoom, and you sit in silence and reflection, and if you feel nudged, they call it nudging. If you feel nudged to share a message.
I was, but it's part of the reason we divorced because I think Crystal was more into it than I was. Yeah, and I would get nudged into nudging, and I didn't like it.
That's rough.
Yeah. Anyway, you shouldn't nudge without consent.
So, you can tear.
What is being nudged? What is being nudged?
If you were nudged, it just means that you want to share something, a message or something that is on your mind. Something very cool about the Society of Friends. They don't have priests. They don't have pastors. No,
egalitarian.
There is no hierarchy of spiritual leadership. What? Everyone is considered equally valuable and important to chime in. And so the message comes from the people who are sitting in the meeting as they are nudged to just share something.
Wait, so it's dead silence, people reflecting, and then someone's got to be the first to be like, I got something.
Yeah, that's pretty much
the same guy. I bet it's the same guy every time.
I don't know. This is my first meeting, but yeah.
Nate. We all know you have something. Can we do 5 minutes first?
Sake. Why don't we give someone else a chance, Nate? Nate the Quaker.
He's like clearly trying to be a pastor and is working up the nerve. So he goes to Quaker meetings. What was really on my mind this week? He's got like a whole sermon ready.
Man straying from Christ. God.
They tell anecdotes or stories or just little messages. The first person who shared, it was about him cooking, and he was basically making like a base, like a Mirepoix base. And so the message was just kind of like, if you have like a great base, you can like add anything to it, was sort of the takeaway from that.
Oh, these Friends.
And
I love this.
Clearly,
this is great.
Yeah, he was clear that cooking was like passionate to him, and and he spoke on it well. And a few other people shared, but for the most part, it was quiet because, as they tell you, the message could just be for you, in which case you don't have to share it. It's for you, and it's not about showing off for the sake of like, guess what God told me, and just for me. You're only kind of supposed to share if you think it would like be beneficial to the group. But if you're receiving, your own message, then you just take that. So anyway, you sit there for like an hour, and people intermittently share in a very polite way. And then after that, you do joys and sorrows, which are basically, you'd say either something good from your life that brings you joy or
a gratitude-y.
A sorrow. Yeah, gratitudes. Gratitudes and bummer tooties. It reminded me, it was very much, if you've ever been to a quote unquote regular church, they take prayer requests from people, and it's what you pray for. The joys and sorrows component definitely felt like prayer requests in that way, because they would ask, instead of saying pray though, they say hold them up to the light. That's the term that they use.
I like that too.
Hold
That's a cool way of putting it.
Oh, it feels a little like CSI.
There's cum all over this.
There's cum all over it. All over the crime scene.
You hold it up to the light. There's cum all over it.
Don't hold it up to the light.
Sorry.
This
is my first thought too. You're not alone.
Okay,
but
thank you.
Yeah, then there's fellowship at the end where, it's like meeting people and introducing yourself and, saying how you found that group or something. I will say this, the people for the most part were so old. It was like a casting call for Cocoon. It was like, I think there were original Quakers there. I think they were old. Like, Not me old.
Did you have your camera
Not
on?
me
Could they
old.
see you?
Yeah, they could see me. I had my camera on.
Yeah.
I had to own a judge from the Washingtons.
Yeah. There were a few younger people as well, and they were all like myself, curious about it. It was clear that they weren't
curious. Yeah,
they were quite
friends curious.
Friends curious. So they like me were like visiting kind of for the first time, but it was clear that the core group was pretty old.
This is so dumb. I can't.
Wait, producer Ron, anytime that Andrew says friends, can we put in? So no one told you life was gonna be this way. If we could just sort of put that in.
I don't even want the music, honestly. I just want
the clap.
Just the clapping.
Yeah, just the clap.
It was a Religion of Friends fans, and I'm surprised that Katie is Catholic and not.
Yeah, if there was a Friends TV show religion, Katie would run away from that Catholic church so fast.
It sounds like mostly positive experience.
There was a lot that I liked about it. The very egalitarian notion of no priests, no pastors,
that
like everyone
for God.
has value, and you just share when you like feel so moved, instead of like everyone will share. We'll go around and you have to share. Maybe you don't have anything. Maybe there's like, maybe you're just there to like receive it. I thought that whole system was super cool. I was like, yeah, the world could definitely use more of this, of contemplation and reflection and listening to other people's tidbits of wisdom.
Now, I have a question for you. I forced the challenge. It wasn't like you went there organically because you were genuinely searching. But did it scratch any itch where you're like, oh, I kind of used to have a little bit of religion in my life, and like this is sort of nice to commune, or like not at all?
I did think about religion a lot during this challenge, both just because it did remind me a lot of my religious experience growing up, but also right now I'm working on a game, and I'm creating religions for this game that are set centuries in the future. So I've been thinking a lot about religions of like, what would a religion be hundreds of years in the future? What might that be? So I've had religion on my mind in those ways, like big time. And I think that they're, like Ben kind of alluded to in the first half, there is this sort of like sense of community that people get in religion that kind of bonds them together, that humans like, and religion gives them the sort of tribal identity of like, we're part of this group and we are bonded together, and these are the
rituals we do.
Yes, in these same things. And so, yeah, I think there's that. And you could tell that this Society of Friends, they had a community. I was browsing around on their website and seeing the activities they do and the group pictures and stuff. And it was clear that they had a community. And I was like, oh yeah, there's definitely like a community value in religion for sure. I think that is a reason why a ton of people go. It's maybe less about, it's clear that they aren't really taking the Christian teachings to heart based on their life, but they're showing up every Sunday because they have friends there and they have community there, and it is like part of their identity for sure. I had friends growing up in church and I still have some of those friends to this day.
Every time
for
friends
sure
comes up, the clapping
clap.
is killing me.
The one thing I thought, I'm sorry for hogging all the time here, but
it's all right. You feared this challenge the most. You probably have a lot to say about it. However, Ben, even if he doesn't, will.
Yeah. The holding up to the light, I was not as big a fan
nudged.
of. I think the idea of like light being good and dark being bad is like at least a primitive way of thinking, and at worst leads to like racist problems. So the idea of like holding people up to the light, I think that they could probably do that better. I think there's probably a better something better than light being good and dark being bad.
You should reverse that for one of your game's religions. Dark should be good. Light should be bad. They should be night worshipers.
Yeah, why not? It's incredibly old school Dark Ages to think of the night and darkness as bad and evil and light as being good. So that was whack. I will say this, Ron, can you sound the earnestness horn, please?
Uh-oh.
I know I don't often tug it, but...
Hold on, let me get across. Don't leave me in Rift City.
Been to the bridge, splash.
Ben's hanging on the drawbridge to come back in.
What's a earnestness
I will
horn?
say this is something that I definitely took away, and just as a message for anyone out there who's listening, if you are like neurodivergent or atypical or shy a Society of Friends meeting might be like the perfect kind of meeting for you because of the structure. You can sit there, it's quiet. People are sharing. You are never expected to speak or comment. It's all like totally participatory. There is no like, why don't you go around and say one fun thing about yourself? And like they don't do any of that. So I think it would be a cool form of community for people out there for
That's
sure.
a great
who might avoid a more conventional religious service because of its like structure and like, if you're here for the first time, stand up and let's all talk to you. Like they're not they're not doing that kind of thing. So that was pretty cool. And in researching the Society of Friends of Quakers, it looks like there runs a huge span of beliefs. There are non-theist Quakers, there are Christian Quakers, there are so many different sects within that religion that it would be hard for me to just say, this religion is cool or this religion sucks for that reason. But it was definitely interesting, and I'm glad I checked it out.
All right.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Well,
Ben, is the light in you?
Ben's never seen the light in his life. Are you kidding? Hey,
that's not true. I drank about 30 natty lights one night, and I put a lot of light
deviations in this riff, and I like that.
Who wants to go second? Do you want to go? Do you want me to go, Adam?
We just told you it was your turn.
I was trying to kick to you with the smooth...
so it's my turn. Okay, so I was super nervous. I made breakfast, and I almost barfed because I don't like going into new situations like this where I'm worried that attention, like Andrew's, like people are going to want me to speak, and I don't know how a Hare Krishna service goes. So I looked on the website from 10:30 to 1. They had listed that the temple was open. They do like worship, and then there's like a potluck type thing. And so I got up the courage, rode my motorcycle down there, and walked across the street.
Give the engine a few revs out front.
This guy just got out of prison.
New worshiper in town. Run.
You know how it is. The prodigal sons of anarchy. So
yes.
So I pulled up in front, and I went to the temple. I go to open the door, and it's locked.
It sounds like a story out of the Bible.
Yeah, so he killed a guy, right back to prison.
No. So no one was there. I walked around to Govinda's, which is it's like a restaurant that's attached to it. It's a buffet that they do that I think is largely donation based.
It is.
And they supposedly serve great vegetarian food. And so that was locked. I looked in the windows. No one was in there. So I waited outside for a minute, and then I saw a group of men go into it, and it was locked for them as well. So I looked, and Ron messaged me, and apparently it was from like 12 on, and I couldn't do it because I had, of all things, the most random brunch comedy show for the Underground Music Showcase. So
That's
I had
my religion.
This is Satan. This is Satan working in your life.
Yeah. It's a test.
Well, I had to switch it up. So I went to a church that works with my schedule, and I decided
finally the activity of churches.
And I went to a church that I already worship at the altar of. I decided to change gears, and I went to the International Church of Cannabis because the International
dumb motherfucker. This is not what this challenge was
Shut
about.
your fucking mouth.
Are you going to try to get edibles on board now? Do your fucking sponsorship
Now,
dance.
I'm not going to lie to you that I may have had a few milligrams of wild in my system.
Holy shit.
On your motorcycle, careening through
I headed
Denver.
over to their worship ceremony that happens at...
I just got to say something. Some that wander are lost.
That's their bumper sticker. Ben got one.
So I pull up,
but it is WONDER.
I pull up in front of the International Church of Cannabis, which is an actual massive church on 4th and Logan in Denver. It is a church that was acquired by these artists. for appreciation of cannabis. And at 20 minutes past every hour,
Oh, God.
they have a worship
what kind
ceremony.
of fucking
You shut your
RoboCop
mouth.
future are we living
look
in?
who's judging now, Quaker.
But
Nate
at
the Nudger's
4:20,
in the
like
house.
the big one, 311 shows up.
Every time.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So
Like a
I
cuckoo
went-
clock. They come out of the
Just shut up for a second. I listened to your dumb Quaker
Hey, you didn't
story.
sound the earnestness horn. We could riff on this
Slapping
dumbass
across
church all
the
we
prairie
want.
from Omaha. Here's 311 like a storm getting to the church on time.
So I pull up in front and I decide I'm going to attend their Beyond Meditation and Light experience.
Oh
So
my fucking
I walked
God.
into the church and I bought my ticket. It is very
You have to buy a
inexpensive.
ticket to
You
go
can
to
buy a
church.
ticket.
Yeah. You have to
Okay,
buy
this church sounds incredibly American.
These ganjapreneurs, man, where will they
paltry
stop?
sum of money.
How
Now,
much was a ticket? How much was a ticket to church?
The church. Take me to church.
How much was the ticket?
It was
much was the
25
ticket?
bucks.
25 bucks?
To
Yeah.
attend church once.
25 bucks
No,
to go to
you
church.
get to hang out at the church for a while after.
Oh, cool.
Dork.
I got there.
Absolute dork.
Listen. Hold on a second.
25 bucks to hang out. This is like a scam from an older brother.
No, stop it. 25 bucks isn't a lot when you have to tithe at a church. You're paying to go to church anyway, you dumb fucks.
Yeah, that's
And this
also
way-
dumb as shit.
And there's a Led Zeppelin laser show. So it's
Like,
fucking
stop it. It
fine.
wasn't only Led Zeppelin. Now stop.
It was
Yes,
it was Christian.
there
It was Christian
some-
rock. It was Petra and
Shut
Deliverance.
up. You're ruining my fucking story. Okay, so
There was
I got
Tourniquet
there,
and Vengeance Rising. I can riff on Christian metal bands for the remainder of this podcast.
So when I get in, you have to show your ticket. And when I walked in, the person went, "Oh, hell yeah, Ben Roy." And I was like, this is automatically my type of church. So Darren, the guy that runs it, Darren. He's not an ordained minister of any kind.
No.
So he greeted me. And they were fantastic. The building inside, they have you wait in the waiting area, which has video games. It has cool chairs. It has, they sell pipes.
This is the diners, drive-ins, and dives of religion. Jesus Christ.
They have all kinds of shit. They have shirts you can buy, and they had like cool stuff like old vintage arcade games. And then out back, they had this beautiful, this is serious, a little bit of earnestness horn. Out back, there was
Just a
these
squeak.
muralists painting this beautiful mural, like on the outside of all these different faiths. There was this beautiful painting of Gandhi.
Was it Bob Marley handing Cheech a joint from like heaven?
No, it wasn't.
He said only a
anything-
squeak, and so Adam can yell down from his turret window.
Yes, it was a squeak of the earnestness horn, but that was low-hanging fruit in the garden of good and evil. That was almost touching the ground. So anyway,
Was there one of
After
Martin
that-
Luther hitting up a bong on his way to
he's got 99 theses and God ain't one.
I like that.
So anyway, I went in back inside after going out to this like beautiful courtyard. The building is beautiful. It's a large church that they took over. And it's very beautiful. And then when I was waiting in the area playing some Zelda,
Sure. Also a wanderer.
Yeah, wow, the true.
the man came down to let us know that the worship ceremony would be starting. So then we went up to the actual area where to the chapel, as they call
Where
it.
Billy Wayne Davis shot his special.
Yes,
The chapel is beautiful. The painting is amazing. The pews are padded, so you can lay down on them. You're encouraged to lay down. You can lay down in the middle of the floor. There were
is there maybe a love
There was-
sack? Maybe a beanbag?
You can get to third. You can get to third base in there. We're cool with it.
I'm not fucking joking. I chose to sit in a chair that was a giant hand holding a joint.
How did you not get a picture of that?
I did. By the way, for everybody on Patreon,
Oh, God.
I took a lot of video that will be up on our Patreon of the International.
Hey, what if
Church
church
of
was a
Cannabis.
dumb dream? What if one of your dumbest dreams came to life?
So you get in there now that you're shitting on my religious experience from your high Quaker horse. Now, so
It's a friend's horse.
It's a friend's horse. It's a Clydesdale.
So once you get into the chapel, they let you know you're free to. This is your space. You can lay down on the floor. You can lay down on the pews if you want. You can just look up at the ceiling, and then they kill the lights. And for the first 8 minutes of it, there was this guided meditation where the whole room just became stars, and like you were moving through space very slowly. And
that sounds good. I
was
like that.
Fucking beautiful, like truly beautiful. The way they did it, you could just lay down on these like comfortable pews or in this hand
Ben,
chair.
I think this is the third time you've told us one's free to lay down.
We get it. You laid down.
We've got that.
So I laid down, guys.
If there's one takeaway Ben took from this, you can lay down
really
on the
understand.
pews.
They encourage you to lay down in here.
Spoiler alert, I laid down. And so the meditation part was relaxing. It was this voice just guiding your breaths, telling you to relax, let go of everything throughout the day, just to find your center and focus on your breaths. It was beautiful. And then it switched into a light show that was set to Pink Floyd,
Cypress
Led
Hill.
Zeppelin. No Cypress Hill.
in the memory.
Hits from the bong.
Welcome to the house of Be Real.
So it was amazing. And throughout it, they're just playing voices, excerpts from speeches and from philosophers, just basically talking about the power of individualism, the power of not following doctrines, or people who are so arrogant and certain that they have found the answer and try to parade it and masquerade it in front of you as faith when it is elitism and when it is
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
The message throughout it was fantastic. The power of individuality and the power of believing in yourself and believing that love is the overwhelming force in the universe and certainly among human beings. And then it ends and you're free to hang out in the chapel, take pictures of it. They were incredibly welcoming. The attitude in the chapel was also, everybody was in such a good mood, but it was quiet and reflective, surprisingly. Like people were there to sit quietly and watch the lights. And you're not allowed to imbibe drugs during the time that I went. It's for everyone. Families can go there and bring kids there and whatnot because it is brightly colored and the light show is pretty amazing. But I thought it was great. And what I took from it, honestly, was that modern religions and modern spiritual practices have really, a lot of times, not taken advantage of technology. I think like the idea of projecting things and using light and sound made it feel like meditating in the dark with these stars flowing by you was truly beautiful. Like it was very relaxing. And I'm surprised that more religions have not used these high-tech options for...
I could not agree more, which is why I'm starting a church with animatronic disciples, Chuck E. Cheese style.
I'm in Andrew's church. I'm going to Andrew's church.
Who deliver
I
the
love
message.
that you believe that audio animatronics are high-tech.
It's the height. It's the height of technology.
They're all I can afford,
Hall
okay?
The Hall of Presidents is when they stopped. Like that's when technology peaked.
But I will say, you're all laughing at it. I fucking love it. And if you're all listening and you are visiting Denver, Colorado, you should check out the International Church of Cannabis. One, it's an art collective. You are paying money to go in, but it is a nonprofit that is non-denominational.
So is every church, bud.
Yeah. They also offer like yoga. They do yoga stuff in there. If you're a member, they do meditation stuff. They have comedy shows, comedy events there once a month. It's truly like a collective for all ideas, as long as you're not repressive in thought. So I loved it.
An incredible plug for the International Church of Cannabis.
I'm telling you.
No, it is good. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, Ben. And like obviously we made jokes, but like I've smoked a lot of weed in my life. It certainly puts you in a thoughtful way of thinking. And so what better way to sort of like worship or just like try to meditate than high? There's nothing wrong with that.
Last thing I will say is that I'm reading this book called The Immortality Key, which is talking about how the modern Catholic Church scrubbed the proto-Christian traditions of using psychedelics and using drugs during ceremonies. That was part of Christianity. That's what the Eucharist was. They didn't drink wine. They drank a tainted wine that was tainted with ergot that caused hallucinations. And they were afraid of it because of what the International Church of Cannabis preaches, and Quakers. God lives within you. It is not this omnipotent being, part of the light, or God exists within all of us. And they were afraid of that. Because you can't control
because then they lose their power structure.
Exactly. So anyway, Adam, how was your Trump into the world?
Adam, how much was your ticket?
And how good was the light show?
I just went to Meow Wolf super dehydrated, so I think I got like the same experience.
God. A walkabout? Wow.
Okay, so I decided I was going to go to a synagogue, to a service at a synagogue. And I never really went to these growing up, but whenever I went to other kids in my school's bar and bat mitzvahs, it was always at Temple Emmanuel in Denver. And so I was
which is huge, right? That's a big
it's
one.
over in Hilltop, and I was like, Temple Emmanuel, when I think Judaism, I think of that place.
It's
and so
kind of a beautiful building.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have any, murals like you got to see, but it's definitely beautiful.
It's definitely ripe for a light show.
How's the light rig inside? What are we talking here? What sort of...
All right.
You get in there, they encourage you to lay down. So I Googled, I had to get out of town. I was going out of town for a wedding. I had a narrow window. Like there were 2 days that I could attend a service. And so I went to their website and it was like, oh, it's on Saturdays. That's when they worship. And I couldn't be here for a Saturday. But then I saw that there was a speaker was coming to the church. And it was this woman, her name's Ariella Halevi. And she was giving a speech about, it's called A Woman's Sacred Journey Back to Community. And it was billed about okay, this is how I found Judaism again type of thing.
Was this a women's meeting?
Well, we're about to find out.
Allow me to continue.
Okay.
Anyone could sign up. Anybody could buy tickets. And I thought, great. I'm like hesitant to dip my foot back into Judaism. I just want to I don't want to go to a really staid worship service anyway. Those are boring to me. A intellectual speaking about their journey back to Judaism sounds like a really good
perfect for you.
Thing to go. It's like an academic speech that I would go watch, and maybe I'd get some pearls of wisdom and be like,
how much was the ticket?
Ticket was free.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just click and you can go. I get there. I walk into Temple Emmanuel at 6:30 on a Thursday night. There's no one in the building. I wander around. People are cleaning up and stuff. I finally find a back room, and there's this woman who's giving the presentation, and then a semicircle of chairs around her, like an AA meeting. And there's maybe 5 middle-aged Jewish women sitting in those chairs. So I walk in and I take my seat, and everyone's like, "And who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm Adam. I'm Adam." It's all I say. I just sit down. And the woman who's running the thing is very nice, and she's like, "Okay, well, we're gonna probably have some more people. Let's just wait a few minutes." We wait 10 more minutes, and then 20, 25, 30 more middle-aged Jewish women circle come in, to the point that we got to add chairs. The semicircle's getting bigger, and I am the only man in the fucking room. And so it just kind of starts, and she's like, the woman goes, "Okay, as we discussed last time," and I was like, "There was a fucking last time? This is a meeting of people that have already met once before." And I slowly realize all of these women, or most of them anyway, are going to take a Temple Emmanuel sponsored trip to Israel, and they're going on a spiritual journey together. And this woman is like an expert, a spiritualist that they brought in to talk to these women about
Holy
like how to prepare
fucking
yourself
shit,
for this
Adam.
journey to fucking Israel. So all these women know each other, their kids know each other, they're going to Israel together, and I'm just the fucking dude that showed up at meeting 2 of 3. And they're like, they're looking at me like, is this guy going to shoot up the place? Like, who the fuck is this guy? And so I'm trying to be like, do I run? Like, what should I do? Should I just like go to the bathroom?
You're
and not
going
come
on the
back?
trip this fall. Adam goes
Yeah.
to Israel.
Jesus, I'm sorry to everybody listening if I'm laughing too hard. This is
Oh my
the
God.
image.
This is amazing.
Do you
It was
remember?
so weird. So weird.
I mean, are these like traditionally religious Jewish
No.
women?
This is a group of very modern, just Jewish people.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is it was like I was so fish out of water. It was so weird. But then this woman started talking about basically how to prepare. She kept calling you're preparing the vessel for your spiritual journey. And so like once she started into her lesson, everybody stopped looking at me. This woman was so engaging. It was just like, here's how to get yourself prepared to go on a spiritual journey. And she was like, it doesn't have to be to Israel. It could be you in this chair searching, trying to embark on a spiritual journey.
She just keeps looking
she
at
was
you.
She's staring at me.
You don't have to be going
But
to
it was-
Israel. He's not going.
You could be right
he's
here,
not
just
going.
a guy who shouldn't shoot anyone and should definitely embrace spirituality. You could just
You can maybe come up with an idea on, say, 4chan or Reddit, but then once you get there, see your victims as people.
you could hit eject at any moment from the various plans that you've manifestoed. It really is never too late.
Goddamn. Holy shit, that's fucking hilarious. So
Jesus
did they ever
Christ.
like talk to you?
No, I mean the woman. I keep saying the woman, but Ariella. She has lived in Israel. She not only is a devout Jew, but she practices mystical Judaism, like Kabbalah,
Okay.
and her whole message was spirituality and the spiritual journey. And like I said, like preparing the vessel. And then once everyone moved past the weirdness of me being there, we just engaged with this woman, and she was really fucking interesting. And I found so many lessons that I could just use. Like at one point she talked about, especially Jews, there's a big question always like, why? Why are we here? Why me? Why did the Holocaust happen to us? Why? And Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning, he says, don't ask why, just say what now. And I was like, oh, that's like pretty profound. And so what now is the spiritual journey she was preparing for them. And they're all sort of like cliche things I've heard before, like weeding your garden. Like you can't just let your garden get all full of weeds. You have to tend to it, and then you will see the beauty of it. And for her, that meant like, what's bogging you down? And people would be like, oh, Facebook. I'm too on social media too much. I listen to too many. I listen to politics too much. It drives me fucking crazy. And she's like, you got to tune out the noise, and you've got to get your spiritual vessel ready and like able to like to receive these positive things. And it was exactly the type of shit we've done on this podcast again and again and again. It was like, how do you do this? Meditation, hiking,
Float tank.
People literally did gratitudes, writing things down.
Rage room.
Yeah, like
The Fast and the Fury franchise.
a lot of these women do gardening and shit like that. And it was about like finding an inner calm. And there were many other lessons that I related to and found actually pretty profound. But the silencing everything and finding your inner calm as a means of preparing your vessel for a spiritual journey is, I think, all three of us what we've tried to do in this podcast, sort of.
Yeah.
In the more earnestness horn episodes, is just calm ourselves. She used the metaphor of a snow globe, and like the snowflakes are just shaking around you and you're in the middle of it and you can't see anything. So just how do you make that snow settle so you can like see shit? And I just thought all of this was great. And like more than anything, I think the women stopped fearing me because I was engaging and a little bit.
Did you ask questions?
Once it was clear you weren't armed, the vibe changed.
Right.
The
After
vibe
10
changed.
minutes, it became clear, like, why this poor idiot is like here for some searching reason. Let's just like give him the benefit of the doubt. But I definitely I think I'm quick to sell myself short as a Jew because I didn't worship. I wasn't bar mitzvahed. I did go on a birthright trip to Israel, but like I'm not a good religious Jew, but culturally, I think I am Jewish, and I think I always negate that I grew up going to Passovers at people's houses that are old Jewish people that worshipped, and I had friends of my dad's dad who were in the Holocaust who came, and like I remember asking my dad's friend why he had those numbers on his arm one time when I was a kid, and he's like,
"Damn!"
And he's like, "It's the phone number of a beautiful woman," is what he told me, and it's just like, I have these memories.
That's actually kind of a beautiful like thing to say to a kid.
Yeah, it's a very, very good answer by this man, David. And so being around these 50-something Jewish women, it was like kind of reminded me of who I grew up with. I went from being the weirdo to being like, I know all these people. Like, I know exactly how they're overbearing. I know exactly how they love you to death. I know these people. Like, so it just felt very comforting. I just like being around all these middle-aged Jewish women.
This is honestly one of the best things you've ever had happen to you with any challenge, Adam. My stomach literally hurts from laughing right now.
It was very odd.
But the nostalgia, you're all going to laugh at me. I know this, but the nostalgia was what comforted me the most. This sounds earnestness horn because I'm going to say it and I know how silly it sounds. But when I was in the chapel thing and they were playing the music and I was laying there listening to music and it was dark, it reminded me how much I loved doing that as a teenager. Like I was so confused and I would just turn on music that I liked and I would just sit in the dark, like at night or something, and listen to tunes and it would calm me the fuck down. And like doing that, I was like, oh, it is simple to recenter yourself. Like for me, it was very reminiscent. And I think that that's part of the reason. I mean, listening to the Doors and Pink Floyd and shit like that. I mean, I was a stoner in high school. So that was like, there was something beautiful about that nostalgia that comes from it. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's great.
I want to say one more thing, which is that I think often on this podcast, we do ask these questions. We spiritually wander. Certainly, we try to calm ourselves in certain ways.
For sure.
We are trying to like lessen our anxiety. And that is what I responded to. And I think it was also nice to know, oh, these people are asking these same questions all the time in this building. They just go and they're comfortable doing it. And that is just the human condition. It's just like, I'm overwhelmed. Everything's anxiety inducing. How do I calm myself to find more of a truth, more of a peace?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I think that's all they're doing here. And that's what we are doing, but we have to sound the earnestness horn because we can't admit
jackals
that we're doing that.
Over a fresh kill.
Exactly. So it's just nice to know like all humans are wondering in the same fucking way.
Yeah, and I think the big takeaway from so many of our challenges, like you said, and the takeaway from these is like, if you just like pause and intentionally chill out, whether it's in a float tank or in a yoga class, or because you got off social media, or you're in the Church of Cannabis at the light show, or in a Society of Friends meeting, it seems like there is like a very baseline benefit in whatever that is, that sort of reflection, contemplation. Some people, call it meditation, whatever it might be. It seems there is like obviously an ongoing benefit of that, whether it's for religious purposes or just because you just don't want to be on social media.
I think to slow down, close your eyes, lay still, listen to music is to try your best to slow this incredibly chaotic computer in our head that is constantly processing everything around you and becomes confusing and exhausting. And
I agree. I think worship is just a search for calm.
Yeah.
It's just a search for inner calm and inner peace.
Yeah.
And I think that's like what a lot of people are trying to do on their own.
So let's ask the question we always ask, and we'll start with Andrew, I guess, because you went first. Does this make the world a better place? And will you continue doing this? Will you stay with the Friends?
The Society of Friends. I will say, as somebody who is generally anti-religious, not as in like I don't prefer it, but that I consider it a detriment to the human race and like progress.
And one must be active against it, like anti-racism.
It was a nice surprise for sure, going to the Society of Friends meeting and seeing this example of a religion that seemed so different than mainstream American religions, which are like loud and outspoken. And so it was very cool to see this like very, very small cousin of that.
It's like an indie rock band against this big stadium arena rock. You know? Like it's nice to go to a small theater and see some
If
good
more
music.
people belonged to the Society of Friends, the world would undoubtedly be a better place, for sure. I will say that. Will I continue going? I'm not sure I will keep going. It's still, at least that group of friends, it did have some beliefs like creationism, things like that I just don't believe in. And I'm definitely not the kind of person who's going to sacrifice things that I believe in. I would rather find a place that dovetails in the things I believe. So I don't know if I would continue with that friends meeting, but it was definitely interesting.
Why don't you come over to the ICOC? We'll take
Well,
you.
I guarantee this, Andrew. I guarantee you will sit in front of your screen for 20 minutes in silence again.
That is profound, and I think
If that's the,
and I might
if that's
and I
the
may feel
determination-
nudged to share. I'm kind of always communing with God. Now that you mention it, I'm just always here, just in a kind of a constant state as my body deteriorates into like a cocktail shrimp, just being with God.
Bud. Great.
But the sense of community there, it would be cool for sure to have like a group of people who were like kind and good, who you could like regularly meet with. That couldn't be bad for anybody.
How about you, Ben? You there for life?
You got a punch card. You get 10 laser shows.
Do I think the International Church of Cannabis makes the world a better place? 100%. Art makes the world a better place. These folks that are running it are not trying to push any doctrine or agenda aside from be yourself and, question anyone who tells you they know what is right and wrong with certainty, So I think that their message there is fantastic. Will I go again? I like getting stoned here and there, but I don't ever want to be identified as that's like who I am as a stoner or part of my life. It's just something I do. I found religion, and this sounds corny, on the mats. Doing jujitsu is my community and my meaning. Like, it's where I center myself. It's where I find peace. I feel so calm after class. I think there's a lot of power in self-defense, and I think it gives a lot of people their ability to stand up straight and to stand up for themselves. And I found a community of people within comedy and jujitsu. I think I have a robust community around me. Personally. So I don't know that I'm searching for that so much in a church setting. But will I go to the International Church of Cannabis again and take people there? 100%. And will I get real high again and go to their light show? Fuck yeah. And I will tell everybody you should go support them because they were amazing and super nice. And Adam, what about you?
I'm with you. The Groucho Marx, wouldn't want to be a member of any club that would have me as a member type of thing. I don't want to be identified as like, well, Adam's Jewish now, but I certainly enjoyed it, and I certainly enjoyed the fact that like, oh yeah, everybody's wondering, everybody's anxious. It just sort of hammered home. I don't know. I've had it like the world's so terrible right now, and personally, I've had some things that have been making me sad, and it really was nice to be like, oh, these people are openly going to a place to discuss how to be more spiritual and find a calm. That's okay. That's normal. That's what the human condition is. So I loved that. And I might go to an actual service there that's at the right time and the right hours and where the armed security guard doesn't have to walk through several times to check on me, which happened. I'd like to be not looked at as a would-be
assailant,
would-be live shooter.
Okay.
Tough shit, dude, because you're a white guy in America.
I'm a Jew.
Okay, well, to everybody listening, if you've found your place of worship or some outlandish or crazy outside the box place of worship that you go to or anything like that, if you have thoughts on this, please let us know. We would love to hear that.
Yeah, or if you're just inspired to be a spiritual tourist, go for it.
Yeah.
Give something a whirl.
Tell us what you did. We would love to hear it. And in the meantime, why don't we go back to the only church the three of us have ever worshiped at? Why don't we listen to some live stand-up comedy? Once again, our live show at the Bug Theater in Denver, Colorado, at the world-famous Bug Theater. I got to say,
my
it's
church.
world
That's
famous.
my church.
That's my
It's the
church.
last Saturday of every month. You can get your tickets now. This coming month, it is Sarah Schaefer. But we've got a friend of the pod, super funny. She's amazing. Everybody, please enjoy Esther Steinberg. And when we come back, we will have more show as well as tease next episode's challenge. So please stay tuned.
What's up, Denver? Clap it up for your hometown. Do you love it? I can feel the love. You guys are in love with your city. I'm from a real piece of shit town. I'm actually from the worst place on earth, Tampa, Florida. What? Go Bucks! Titties and meth and beer. It's disgusting. I don't know if you guys know this, but Florida and Alabama are neck and neck for the worst education in the country. Like, when I was growing up in Tampa, we didn't even have a sex ed class. They just split us up, boys and girls, put us in a single file line, and pierced our nipples. So I was just in Florida with my mom. My mom lives there with all of your grandparents, and my mom wanted to go to the Holocaust Museum for fun. That's my mom. She's not like glass half empty or half full kind of person. It's just not what she ordered. So we get to the Holocaust Museum, but we don't even go inside because they wanted to charge us $35 as an admissions fee to the Holocaust Museum. My mom was like, "Sir, I think we've paid enough." That's a fun one.
At Salesforce, we're all about asking more of AI. Questions like, where's the data going? Is it secure? Are you sure? Are you sure you're sure? Get answers you can trust from Salesforce at askmoreofai.com.
Oh my God, when Catwoman goes left on the motorcycle and he goes fucking right, I
for real
definitely had it. It's like,
we
go left
all
with
had
her.
this conversation.
Let
Adam,
Gotham
this
fucking
is-
burn.
I don't want to
She's
talk about it
amazing.
anymore.
Okay. Hey, what a great
Oh
episode
my God, we're back.
today. Wow. What a fun episode.
That really was. I enjoyed that more than I thought I would. That was a really good time.
I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Adam, thank you for taking the bullet, not putting some out, if you know what I'm talking about.
Well, it was never ever anything I wanted to do. Just a series of errors. But I would like to thank Temple Emmanuel. It was cool to be back in there and not be 13 in a weird, ill-fitting suit. It was just nice to be me at 42 and oddly out of place. Thank you, Temple Emmanuel, for all that you do for the community.
Thank you to the Society of Friends for existing and having meetings for people to check out. It was cool.
Yeah, and a big thanks. I didn't get a chance to check them out, but I encourage people, go check out the Denver Krishna Temple, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. I wish I had got to go, and maybe I will try. I'm still want to try to check it out anyway. Also, big ups to my peeps down at the International Church of Cannabis for being so welcoming and letting a dude blaze and lax, bruh. Letting me sax that dag and chill.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Andrew, your song. It's your song time.
Plugs.
It's a very softer version of Plugs by Andrew. I appreciate an acoustic version every now and again.
Unplugged, if you will.
Yeah.
Unplug.
You're welcome.
Ben and I
You're welcome.
are going to be doing a very cool show at Bread Bar in Silver Plume, Colorado, which if you live here, you probably know this place. It's this beautiful old kind of general store building in a mountain town called Silver Plume, and now it's a bar. It's like a Western bar as filtered through an Instagram filter. It's beautiful. It's unreal.
People in Denver come up. It is. Last time we were there were hummingbirds flying around everywhere, and the backdrop with the mountains there. It's truly unique. We're going to tell jokes.
And Miriam Moreno's going to open for us. It'll be a great show, and there's only a very limited number of seats, so those will be on sale in the show notes. Come and see me and Ben in the mountains, like we were meant to be seen.
Yeah.
If you like bread, no better place. Get a flight. Just get a flight of breads. I get a ride.
And some cocktails and watch me and Ben talk about our dicks.
I'm going to be out telling jokes for a couple days. Just 2 shows I'm doing on part of their tour. I'm going to be with Ryan and the folks from Off With Their Heads and old Seth Anderson, a little Canadian. We're going to be August 12th. We'll be at the Shaskeen in Manchester, New Hampshire. And August 13th, we'll be at Faces Brewing Company in Malden, Massachusetts. They're going to be playing some rock and roll, and we'll be telling some jokes. So please come visit.
Hell yeah. August 27th, right here in Denver, Colorado, we're doing another Grawlix. Last Saturday of every month, 8 p.m. This month, we're bringing in Sarah Schaefer as our headliner. Sarah rules. You've probably seen her when she had her show on MTV. You might know her from her podcast. We also have special guest Lindsay Adams, who is also hilarious. So pounce on those tickets. You can get them right in the show notes.
Let me remind you, if you could, review the podcast, subscribe to it, and follow it. Leave a review. We love if you leave reviews. Also, tell a friend, tell your family, tell relatives, tell that, that neighbor that doesn't like you because you park your tires kind of on their lawn. Tell them. That'll calm them down.
Don't tell any dead people. If you're communing with your dead relatives in a cemetery, don't tell them. They can't download this.
No, they cannot. They can't.
Only tell living people about the pod. How many fucking times do we have to remind you?
Producer Ron is working on getting our pod to the deceased, but it is a very long process. Lots of paperwork to get to the dead.
It's tied up with Apple, and it's ridiculous.
If you don't know already, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok by just going to @Grawlix Comedy. Please reach out to us and let us know about your spiritual side. I want to hear it.
Oh, I love your spiritually horny wandering voice. You can follow us on Patreon.com/Grawlix. .com/Grawlix Save. But we do slave. We slave over our Patreon content because we love you guys so much. You're allowing us to do cool challenges. You're coming in from all over the world. It's so exciting for us to see where people are listening to this, and we love our Patreon community. That's why we have ad-free episodes, bonus content. We got videos. Ben's smashing experience will be up, and we have a very, very funny, but I know it's going to be controversial new Boy Crazy coming out
This
soon.
one's going to be a lot. It's a tough one, and I think
it is a tough one, and I have a feeling it's going to divide the three of us.
Yeah, but for sure,
pretty fiercely. But I'm excited to get that out.
Also, we have a new Patreon feature where you can vote on the challenges that we're going to do. Do you want to say in the silly self-improvement challenges we do? We're going to start having a poll on there with the challenges, and Patreons can chime in on
You're
that.
underselling it because that poll starts right fucking now. We don't know what next episode's challenge is. We have no idea. We're going to put a few up on Patreon right now, and you can vote, and we will do whatever you want. Because unlike America, this democracy works.
Yeah.
There's no filibuster here, so go for it.
There's no gerrymandering. We're not redoing voter districts. It's Patreon, and it will stay Patreon. You let us know what challenge we should do.
Big thanks to our producer, the ordained and almighty Reverend Ron Doyle. He went through the very stringent process of whatever. No one gives a fuck. It's not a real...
hell, Ron.
Oh, hell, Ron.
Oh, hell, Ron.
Ron went through the incredibly vigorous process of signing up online for that. So thank you, Ron.
Oh, they penitente lashed him in a field. Ron had to really suffer for that.
Thanks to Mike Henderson for your help recording the
Known
live
Satanist
show.
Mike
He's
Henderson.
a Satanist.
Reputed Satanist.
He claims it's all about individuality, but I don't buy it. I think he
just likes killing cats.
He's crazy. Our theme music, as always, is brought to you by the omnipotent Charlie Continental. Isn't he everywhere? The Alpha and the Omega. And, well, you already teased the next challenge. This next challenge.
Get out there and vote.
It's up to Patreon subscribers. We're going to put a few ideas up there, and you vote which of those ideas that you want to see. So after you're done watching my video of me communing with God at the ICOC, the International Church of Cannabis, but we call it
in
the
a
ICOC.
hand chair smoking a joint.
Yes. Go on to our Patreon page. Go ahead, select the challenge of the ones that we present that you want, and we will carry them out faithfully for you as devotees of our audience. We worship you. The few worship the many in this one. Am I right, guys?
Boy, I just didn't even think you were going to get close to landing that.
No, but I got it.
You did. It was one of those like, wheels on the left, bounce over to the wheels on the right.
Yeah, there's no posse track on this fucking El Camino of comedy. There is not. But you know what I always want to say? This is my chant. If I were to go, I'd be in the Krishna Center of Consciousness, sitting there on my mat, and I would say, play us out, Charlie!